Hey guys, to start off, I'd like to talk about something I thought was interesting from the play. It was a scene uh, where Pentheus and Dionysus were talking about how they would be going up to the mountain and he would lead him, and then on the way back, his mother would bring him. His mother would carry him back. And of course, the scene later, his mother does carry him back, carries his head. So I thought it was pretty interesting how Dionysus kind of uh, foreshadowed, Pentheus's fate, and Pentheus was not really thinking. He was so distracted by, how he's going to go see these women on the mountain, and he didn't exactly understand what Dionysus meant. So I thought that was an interesting part of the play. Moving on to some themes that were prominent. First off, I would say violence, because the scenes where Pentheus was killed were very gruesome and detailed, and overall, I think while that might be necessary to prove the point that that the punishment should have been severe, I thought that violence was still very, very prominent. And another one would be revenge, because Dionysus, of course, his mother was called a liar, and Dionysus was said that he wasn't a god, and so he wanted to, take revenge on people who didn't believe him, and so he did that. And then finally, I'd say rebellion for from the woman's point of view is that it's probably, well, the woman, of course, even if they didn't have much control over it, they did rebel, and they kind of just said, okay, well, we're not going to follow the rules anymore. We're just going to go on this mountain and dance. So I thought that was also interesting. Moving on to how the Maenads were depicted in the play, I thought it was kind of confusing because, some people said they were doing uh, some things, they were going off and having sex and being wild, and other things they were just like, being calm and kind of looking very much like a group, a pack of people, kind of in a sort of way. And I guess that tells us that usually women weren't as, connected or weren't as respected, maybe. Moving on to why I think Elvis was on the cover is because Elvis kind of, in his own way, he was the king of rock and roll, and he kind of had control over women who would come to see him, and they would be all wild and dancing to his music. And I think he kind of represents Dionysus in a way, in that he had that effect on women. So that's probably why he would be on the cover. And then finally, some questions I have about the play were, why does Dionysus decide to punish Cadmus? Because I thought in the beginning of the play, Cadmus is saying, "Oh yes, we should acknowledge that Dionysus is a god. I believe him." And he's trying to tell this to Pentheus, and Pentheus doesn't believe him. So I was confused why that he punished Cadmus as well, and I was also confused why, as Cadmus mentioned, why did Dionysus decide to punish them so severely? Because he is a god, he shouldn't be as angry as he was. So that was another thing. All right, see you guys.